Contrary to public opinion, Joe Biden is a significantly stronger candidate than Hillary Clinton. He locked away his nomination much faster, his lead in the polls has been much more consistent, but he has one big problem. If he won election, on his inauguration day, he would be older than Ronald Reagan, our oldest president ever, was in his last day in office. This means that his Veep stakes are more important than any other in American history, and they just became a disaster. His most obvious frontrunner, Amy Klobuchar, the relatively moderate senator from Minnesota, turns out that she's now implicated in the killing and likely murder of George Floyd, a black man killed by a cop, Derek Chauvin, in Minneapolis. As it turns out, while Amy Klobuchar was both a top prosecutor in Hennepin County and then in Minnesota State, she let Chauvin go, despite him already having 18 complaints against him, only 2 of which were closed with any sort of proper disciplinary action. Klobuchar claims that she wasn't liable for it, and that may well be true, but she's not answering to the Republican base, she's answering to the left. It simply won't be good enough. To further throw water on her presidential aspirations, James Clyburn, the crucial congressman who helped secure the South Carolina primary for Biden, has already said it's out of the question. Then the runner-up theoretically would be Kamala Harris, the telegenic up-and-comer from California, but she also has a prosecutorial problem of her own. I mean, this is a woman who's responsible for a policy that essentially criminalized truancy, sending mothers in San Francisco to jail because their kids didn't show up to school on time. Then, who's next? Stacey Abrams? The woman who hasn't won a statewide race in Georgia, let alone a national one. Some people have pointed to Val Demings, the congresswoman who served on as a House impeachment manager in the impeachment case against President Trump, and she too is a woman of color, a black woman, in a time where that is very important to Democratic voters, and her record is pretty compelling. But she also led the police office in Orlando, Florida, and among the left, that's a non-starter. And Demings herself, 63, which would be fine with any other president, but maybe not when it looks like your top man could keel over at any moment. Who does that leave? Susan Rice, the architect of Obamagate? Joe Biden doesn't have too many more options though, because he already said he would choose a woman. And now overwhelmingly the problem is that they wanted to choose a woman of color. There are plenty of other qualified women of color in the Democratic Party. Just look at Tammy Duckworth in Illinois. Or even if you wanted to gamble on Mayor London Breed of San Francisco, who's overseen one of the lowest coronavirus death rates in any urban area in the country. But that's not who the media's paid attention to. Instead, they've thrown their weight behind Elizabeth Warren, Stacey Abrams. Joe Biden has a problem, and he says that he wants to announce by August 1st, but time's ticking.